Hey, how's it going, everybody? Today we are doing another MLB The Show tutorial in preparation for MLB The Show 17 coming out March 28th. Today we are going to be talking about attributes and maybe a little bit of zone hitting, but I'm not sure on that. I just got some news that I might be busy the rest of the day, so I said in the Battle Royale video that you were going to be getting three videos God dang it, today, but that's probably not going to be the case. This is probably going to be the only other one that you get today because I'm going to be a little busier later on today. But today we are definitely going to talk about attributes. So let's get into it. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about is what attribute does what is useful and what is not useful, because there are attributes that are not useful at all, and there are some attributes that I feel are more important than others. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, I already know what the attributes are. For a lot of you, that's probably true. I have, most of the people that watch my content right now know a lot about the game, but there may be some people who don't, and there may be some people who watch these later who don't know anything. They're beginners. They need to know what the attributes do. Oh, God bless. I can't talk for more than like 15 seconds at a time. It kind of fucks me up. Anyways, the attributes. We're going to be talking about hitting attributes first. Hitting attributes, you have contact, you have power, you have vision, and you have discipline. Clutch, we'll talk about a little later. Clutch is kind of a mystery, but contact works in relation with a pitcher's hit per nine. I think I'm having this right, to determine your PCI size, the size of the plate coverage indicator when you're using zone hitting. It determines the size of that. And I think it determines how much wiggle room you have within the PCI to make good contact. So if you have a low contact, high vision guy who may have a bigger PCI, it may seem like he, can put the bat on the ball really well, but if you're just a little bit off center of the PCI, he's not going to hit it as well as a guy who has high contact and high vision. Because that one guy has a little bit more wiggle room within the PCI. If you ever hit a ball and you're like, man, I center green that, but you really didn't center green it, it was just like a little bit below the ball or just a little bit above it, and you ended up hitting, a worm burner, or you end up flying out or something like that, it's probably because the algorithm that determines, the contact, the hit per nine, the K per nine, all that worked against you right there because your guy's contact rating wasn't high enough. If it would have been a little higher, that could be a home run. So that's what the contact attribute does. And obviously contact versus righties is against right-handed pitchers, and against lefties is left-handed pitchers. Now the power attribute. The power attribute is pretty self-explanatory, and it would stand to reason that power, the same way contact works with hit per nine, power would work with home run per nine. But that's not really the case, and we'll get into that a little later when talking about pitching. Power determines really just how hard you can hit the ball, and how hard, whenever you have your zone in a good spot and you hit it, how hard is that ball going to hit? Not necessarily how far, because you have to deal with like trajectory and stuff like that too. You can hit a ball 120 miles per hour on a line and it be caught by the first baseman, and that's really what power works with contact in that way. So that if you hit a ball with a little bit of loft on it with a guy with like with Reggie Stocker, that's going to be a home run, because he has high contact, high power, high vision. Everything is working in your favor. So you're going to be able to really benefit from that. It also has to deal with gap power. You know what I mean? How hard you can how easy it is to get those gappers that go into the alley and you can get 2 bases, 3 bases out of it. It works with that. Really, in my opinion, I have no confirmation of this. I think what a lot of power does is it determines how hard the ball is coming off the bat in terms of miles per hour. I think you still kind of have to do the work when it comes to trajectory and stuff like that. Power may help a little bit. When it may be a little easier to get under a ball and put it out of the park, but I think mostly it has to do with how hard the ball is coming off the bat, and tangentially that affects how many home runs you're going to hit, because if you get under a ball and have a high trajectory, that's going to be a home run a lot of the time. Vision is something that I think beginners kind of take for granted, but it's a very important attribute, especially if you're playing above All-Star. If you're playing on All-Star, it's not as All-Star or below, it's not that big because your PCI is going to be enormous anyway. But vision is determined by a player's strikeout rate, and what vision does is, just like contact works with hit per nine, vision works with K per nine to determine the size of your PCI as well, alongside contact. So high contact, high vision guys like an Ichiro Suzuki is going to have an enormous PCI relative to another person because he just does such a good job of putting the bat on the ball and not striking out, or at least his flashback did. So if you have a guy with 99 vision and you're facing a pitcher with 99 K per nine, that is going to affect your PCI. Really, it's going to be about an average effect because the two are kind of canceling each other out. But if you have a 99 vision guy and you have a guy with 60 K per nine, your PCI is going to grow a good deal because your vision is outweighing that 60 K per nine, and it's making your PCI, it's going to be a lot bigger. Discipline, I think, is something that how people kind of underrate vision. I think people can sometimes tend to overrate discipline, and it's not hard to do because it's just not really that important. Discipline determines how easy it is to check swing, and it's just one of those things that it's kind of rare to really have to check swing, manually. So a lot of times I do it on accident. So I don't think discipline is really that big of a thing. Clutch, on the other hand, is probably the most important attribute out there. If you really want to be a good player, you really have to focus on clutch. It is easily the most... No, I'm kidding. It's really not. I don't know if clutch is important at all. I think Cardinal Bird did some testing on this. And go check out his channel, by the way, Cardinal Bird 5. I think he did some testing on this, and I don't think clutch, or at least batting clutch, does much of anything, if anything at all. It's really not that important, if I remember correctly. It's just not that important of a stat, and it may be kind of like home run per nine, which we'll talk about later. It may not do anything at all. Fielding stats, fielding and speed. All right, fielding has to do with, just how often your guy is going to successfully catch the ball. If he's an outfielder, fly balls. If he's an infielder, fielding ground balls, stuff like that. It has to do with his success rate. Low fielders are gonna make more errors, obviously. Higher rated fielders are gonna make the tough plays. They're gonna be able to make diving catches more often. They're gonna be able to successfully field those routine ground balls more often. It's an important stat, but in my opinion, I think reaction is a little bit more important along with speed. If you have a guy with like 75, I don't know how many of these guys really are out there, but if you have a guy that has like 75 fielding with 99 reaction and 90 speed, he is probably a better fielder than a guy with 99 fielding and 70 reaction and 70 speed, because he's going to be getting to a lot more balls. You know, every now and then he may, you know, screw up and make an error or something, but he's going to be getting to those balls that the guy with high fielding just can't get to because he's not fast enough and he doesn't have good enough reaction. That's what reaction does. It's how quick that first step is, and how quick, and honestly, it makes your fielder faster in the field. It kind of works how stealing and speed work together, how that first step is a lot quicker with guys with high stealing. Reaction kind of works the same, but out in the field. So if you have a guy with really good reaction and really good speed, especially outfielders, those guys are going to be able to get to a ton more balls than a guy who's a really efficient fielder. There's a difference between being an efficient fielder and being a good fielder. And I think that that's represented pretty well in the attributes. Arm strength is, I think it's something that people place a little bit too much importance on. It's nice, but sometimes I'll see people get that 97 Dave Winfield card because he just has a cannon of an arm. But if you don't have the hitting stats to go along with it, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth giving up a beast of a hitter to get a guy who has a strong arm. If you can get both, that's great. But if you have to pick between the two, go with the guy with the bat. Always go with the bat. It's the most important thing. You know, obviously, we're really talking about shortstop, maybe third base, and the outfield when it comes to arm strength. And yeah, it's an important thing, but it's not the end-all be-all. I don't think it happens any more than once a game where I really need to utilize that arm strength tool. Now, if you do have a guy who has extremely low arm strength, like Jacoby Ellsbury, or next year that Johnny Damon card, you're not gonna want to play your outfield deep that often, because if they hit one of those ground balls, you know, that just kind of slowly gets through the middle of the infield and just kind of trickles out in the outfield, and Ellsbury has to come in and make a throw. A lot of times they can stretch that hit into a double because he can't get there fast enough and his arm is too weak. I can understand that, and I can see how not having a strong-armed outfield could lead to extra base hits, you know, maybe once or twice a game. But I think what you're giving up hitting-wise, it is too much to get that benefit. A lot of people would disagree with me on that, and that's okay. I just don't think arm strength is more important than hitting. But that's not to say it isn't important, because it is. It is an important thing. Arm accuracy is not important at all, and let me explain that. Arm accuracy, maybe for like the outfield, you know, for making deep throws, it's important. But really, if you're using button accuracy like I told you to do in the last video, and you have that set on rookie, the green area is going to be enormous no matter what, and the thing is going to move slow. And arm accuracy may make it a little bit bigger, but in reality, if you can't hit that green area set on rookie and button accuracy, there's not a lot of help for you. Like, come on, bro. All right, and that's going to do it for the hitting attributes. I've decided to split the hitting attribute video and the pitching attribute video into two separate videos because it was getting a little long, and it just kind of helps me keep it a little better organized. But I'm probably going to put the pitching attribute video out today as well, so be on the lookout for that. Until then, I will see you guys later. Peace.